The movies made him a legend, but when Chuck Norris walked into Master Tanaka's dojo, the smug master couldn't resist a smirk. "Hollywood tricks won't save you here," Tanaka sneered, as the students laughed along. But then Chuck took off his jacket, tied his own black belt, and stepped onto the mat. What happened next silenced the entire dojo and changed their tradition forever. Welcome to Chuck Norris Heroics. Let's uncover what really happened. In the heart of the city stood the Shuriken Dojo, a place where tradition met modernity, and where the echoes of battle were as much a part of the air as the scent of polished wood. At its helm was Master Hiroshi Tanaka, a man whose reputation was as sharp as his katana. With a lineage tracing back to the ancient martial arts families of Japan, he carried the weight of history on his shoulders. Master Tanaka was a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes. His students revered him, not just for his skill, but for the aura of invincibility he projected. He moved with the grace of a seasoned warrior, each step deliberate, each gesture precise. His black belt was not merely a symbol. It was a testament to decades of discipline and mastery. Yet, beneath the surface of this disciplined exterior lay a subtle arrogance. It wasn't loud or brash, but it was undeniable. He often spoke of the old ways, dismissing modern interpretations of martial arts as diluted and inferior. The true path, he would say, is found in the sweat of tradition, not the flash of novelty. This attitude extended beyond words. During demonstrations, he would effortlessly disarm opponents, his movements fluid and decisive. Spectators watched in awe, but there was an undercurrent of discomfort. Many wondered if his displays were meant to teach or to belittle. Despite the whispers, Master Tanaka's dojo flourished. His students were disciplined, their techniques honed to perfection. Yet, there was an unspoken understanding that to challenge his authority was to risk humiliation. The dojo was his kingdom, and he ruled it with an iron fist, cloaked in the silk of tradition. But even in the most steadfast of empires, cracks can form. And sometimes, it takes an unexpected visitor to expose them. Master Hiroshi Tanaka stood at the front of the dojo, his gaze sweeping over the gathered students. The air was thick with anticipation. Today was the day of the annual demonstration. As he began his lecture on the importance of discipline and respect, a soft murmur rippled through the crowd. At the back of the room, a figure had entered unnoticed by most, save for a few keen eyes. Chuck Norris, the legendary martial artist and actor, had arrived. His presence was understated, yet undeniable. Dressed simply, with no entourage or fanfare, he blended into the background, observing quietly. However, his reputation preceded him. Whispers spread like wildfire. "That's Chuck Norris. The Chuck Norris." The room fell into a hushed silence as all eyes subtly shifted toward him. Master Tanaka, noticing the distraction, paused mid-sentence. His sharp eyes narrowed as he assessed the newcomer. Recognizing the man who had once been a champion in the martial arts world, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of irritation. The dojo was his domain, and he prided himself on its exclusivity and tradition. With a slight sneer, Master Tanaka addressed the room. "It seems we have a visitor," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "A Hollywood star, no less. I wonder if he believes his on-screen antics translate to real-world skill." The students shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension. Chuck remained seated, his expression unreadable, allowing the master to continue his tirade. "Perhaps," Tanaka continued, "he would like to demonstrate his skills for us. Show us how Hollywood heroes fare in a real dojo." The challenge hung in the air, heavy and unspoken. Chuck's reputation was built on more than just film. His martial arts prowess was well documented. Yet, he chose not to respond immediately. Instead, he stood slowly, his movements deliberate and calm. The room held its breath. Master Tanaka smirked, confident in his superiority. "Well then," he said, "let's see if the movies have taught you anything worthwhile." The gauntlet had been thrown. Master Hiroshi Tanaka stood at the front of his dojo, his posture impeccable, his gaze unwavering. The students before him mirrored his every movement, their forms sharp and disciplined. Tanaka's reputation was built on decades of rigorous training and an unyielding commitment to the traditional martial arts. He was a man who believed in the purity of the craft, dismissing modern interpretations as mere distractions. As the class concluded, Tanaka addressed his students with the same stern demeanor. "Remember," he intoned, "true strength lies in humility and respect. Arrogance has no place in this dojo." His words were met with nods of agreement, the students acknowledging the weight of his teachings. Outside the dojo, the world buzzed with excitement over a recent viral video. It featured an American martial artist and actor, Chuck Norris, effortlessly dispatching opponents in a series of choreographed sequences. The video captivated audiences worldwide, showcasing Norris's skill and charisma. However, to Tanaka, it was nothing more than cinematic spectacle. One evening, as Tanaka sipped his tea in the dojo's quiet courtyard, a young student approached him. "Master," the student began hesitantly, "have you seen the video of Chuck Norris? They say he's unbeatable." Tanaka's lips curled into a slight smile, though his eyes remained cold. "Unbeatable," he mused, "perhaps in the world of film. But in the dojo, true strength is earned, not scripted." The student nodded, though a flicker of doubt crossed his face. Tanaka, sensing the shift, added, "Remember, the loudest voice often hides the weakest argument." Little did Tanaka know, this offhand remark would soon echo back to him in a way he never anticipated. Master Hiroshi Tanaka's dojo was a sanctuary of discipline, where every movement was a reflection of years of rigorous training. The students, clad in their crisp white GIs, moved in unison, their forms sharp and precise. Tanaka, standing at the forefront, observed with a critical eye, ensuring that each technique adhered to the traditional methods he held sacred. The dojo's walls, adorned with calligraphy and ancient scrolls, echoed with the sounds of focused breathing and the swish of uniforms slicing through the air. The atmosphere was thick with the weight of history and tradition. To Tanaka, this was more than just a place of learning. It was a testament to the purity of martial arts, untouched by modern influences. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue through the dojo's sliding doors, a figure appeared at the entrance. Clad in a simple black GI, his presence was understated yet commanding. He stepped onto the tatami mats with a grace that belied his age, his movements fluid and deliberate. This was Chuck Norris. Norris's reputation had preceded him. A six-time world karate champion, he had earned black belts in multiple disciplines, including Tang Soo Do, Taekwondo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His martial arts prowess was renowned, and his transition into Hollywood had only amplified his legendary status. Yet, despite his fame, he carried himself with a humility that resonated deeply within the dojo's walls. As Norris observed the students, his eyes gleamed with appreciation for their dedication. He understood the importance of tradition, having spent years honing his craft under the guidance of esteemed masters. But he also recognized the value of adaptability and growth, principles that had guided him throughout his illustrious career. Master Tanaka, ever the traditionalist, watched Norris closely. He respected the man's achievements, but couldn't help but feel a twinge of skepticism. In his eyes, the dojo was a sanctuary, and outsiders, no matter how accomplished, were mere visitors. The evening concluded with a silent exchange of nods between the two men. No words were spoken, but the mutual respect was palpable. As Norris exited the dojo, he left behind more than just the echo of his footsteps. He left a challenge, one that Tanaka would soon confront. The Shuriken Dojo, under the guidance of Master Hiroshi Tanaka, had long been a beacon of traditional martial arts in the city. Its reputation was built on decades of unwavering discipline, respect for ancient techniques, and a commitment to preserving the purity of the craft. Students trained rigorously, adhering to the strictest codes of conduct, and the dojo's walls echoed with the sounds of kata and sparring that had been passed down through generations. Master Tanaka's philosophy was clear. True strength was found in humility and adherence to tradition. He often spoke of the old ways, dismissing modern interpretations of martial arts as diluted and inferior. His teachings emphasized the importance of internal growth, mental fortitude, and the mastery of fundamental techniques. To him, martial arts was not just a physical endeavor, but a spiritual journey that required unwavering dedication and respect. This steadfast commitment to tradition earned the dojo a revered status among its peers. It was a place where aspiring martial artists sought to hone their skills and deepen their understanding of the art. The dojo's reputation attracted students from all walks of life, each eager to learn under the tutelage of a master who had dedicated his life to the discipline. However, this esteemed reputation also led to an air of exclusivity. The dojo was selective in its admissions, and many outsiders viewed it as an insular institution that held itself above the evolving landscape of modern martial arts. While some respected its unwavering dedication to tradition, others questioned whether the dojo's rigid adherence to the past hindered its ability to adapt and grow. In the midst of this atmosphere of reverence and scrutiny, the arrival of Chuck Norris, a martial artist of international acclaim, was nothing short of a spectacle. His reputation as a formidable fighter and his status as a pop culture icon preceded him, and his presence at the Shuriken Dojo stirred both admiration and skepticism. For some, it was an opportunity to witness firsthand the skills of a living legend. For others, it was a challenge to the dojo's long-held beliefs and practices. As Norris observed the students and their training, whispers spread throughout the dojo. Some students were eager to demonstrate their abilities, hoping to impress the renowned martial artist. Others, however, felt a sense of unease, questioning whether their traditional methods would stand up to the scrutiny of a modern martial artist of Norris's caliber. Master Tanaka, ever the stoic leader, maintained his composure. He understood the significance of Norris's visit and the potential challenges it posed to the dojo's established norms. Yet, he remained confident in the strength of his teachings and the integrity of his students. The dojo's reputation, built on years of tradition and discipline, now stood at a crossroads. The encounter with Chuck Norris had the potential to either reinforce its esteemed status or force a reevaluation of its place in the evolving world of martial arts. As the evening drew to a close and Norris prepared to leave, the atmosphere in the dojo was thick with anticipation. The students and Master Tanaka alike knew that this encounter was more than just a meeting of martial artists. It was a pivotal moment that would shape the future of the Shuriken Dojo. Master Hiroshi Tanaka observed Chuck Norris's entrance with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. The dojo, a sanctuary of tradition and discipline, had long upheld its reputation as a bastion of martial arts excellence. Tanaka, a seasoned practitioner with decades of experience, had cultivated an environment where respect for lineage and adherence to classical techniques were paramount. Norris's presence, however, introduced an element of unpredictability. The whispers among the students grew louder as they recognized the legendary martial artist and actor. His reputation, both on-screen and in the dojo, preceded him. Yet, to Tanaka, Norris was an outsider, a figure whose fame was built on cinematic portrayals rather than the rigorous path of traditional martial arts. As Norris observed the class, his demeanor was calm and composed. He refrained from drawing attention to himself, choosing instead to watch the students' movements with a discerning eye. His presence was understated, yet undeniable. Tanaka noted the precision in Norris's gaze, the way he analyzed each technique with the scrutiny of a seasoned master. Despite Norris's apparent respect for the dojo's practices, Tanaka couldn't shake the feeling that the actor's fame might overshadow the dojo's principles. In Tanaka's eyes, the dojo was a sacred space where humility and dedication were paramount. The allure of Hollywood stardom, with its glitz and glamour, seemed at odds with the dojo's austere environment. As the class concluded, Tanaka approached Norris. "Your reputation precedes you," Tanaka remarked, his voice steady. "But here, We value tradition above all else. Norris nodded, acknowledging the master's words. I understand, he replied. I'm here to learn, not to disrupt. Tanaka studied Norris for a moment longer, assessing the sincerity in his eyes. Perhaps, he thought, this encounter could bridge the gap between tradition and modernity. But only time would reveal whether Norris's presence would enrich the dojo's legacy or challenge its very foundation. Master Hiroshi Tanaka stood at the front of his dojo, his posture impeccable, his gaze unwavering. The students before him mirrored his every movement, their forms sharp and disciplined. Tanaka's reputation was built on decades of rigorous training and an unyielding commitment to the traditional martial arts. He was a man who believed in the purity of the craft, dismissing modern interpretations as mere distractions. As the class concluded, Tanaka addressed his students with the same stern demeanor. Remember, he intoned, true strength lies in humility and respect. Arrogance has no place in this dojo. His words were met with nods of agreement, the students acknowledging the weight of his teachings. Outside the dojo, the world buzzed with excitement over a recent viral video. It featured an American martial artist and actor, Chuck Norris, effortlessly dispatching opponents in a series of choreographed sequences. The video captivated audiences worldwide, showcasing Norris's skill and charisma. However, to Tanaka, it was nothing more than cinematic spectacle. One evening, as Tanaka sipped his tea in the dojo's quiet courtyard, a young student approached him. Master, the student began hesitantly, have you seen a video of Chuck Norris? They say he's unbeatable. Tanaka's lips curled into a slight smile, though his eyes remained cold. Unbeatable, he mused, perhaps in the world of film. But in the dojo, true strength is earned, not scripted. The student nodded, though a flicker of doubt crossed his face. Tanaka, sensing the shift, added, remember, the loudest voice often hides the weakest argument. Little did Tanaka know, this offhand remark would soon echo back to him in a way he never anticipated. Chuck Norris arrived at the dojo not with fanfare, but with a quiet presence that spoke volumes. Dressed simply, his posture relaxed yet purposeful, he observed the students without drawing attention to himself. His eyes, however, missed nothing. He watched as they moved through their katas, noting the precision in some and the hesitation in others. To an untrained eye, it might have seemed like casual observation, but to those who knew the discipline, it was a master assessing the fundamentals. Master Tanaka, ever vigilant, noticed Norris's scrutiny. He had heard of the man's reputation, of course, but seeing it firsthand was different. Norris's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the dojo's usual intensity. While Tanaka valued tradition and the depth of knowledge passed down through generations, he couldn't help but acknowledge the quiet strength Norris exuded. During a break, Norris approached a group of students practicing their footwork. Without a word, he demonstrated a series of swift, fluid movements. The students watched, captivated by the effortless grace and power he displayed. He then stepped back, allowing them to try mimicking his actions. There was no boasting, no showmanship, just a silent invitation to learn. Tanaka observed this interaction from a distance. He had always believed that true mastery was about more than just technique. It was about understanding the essence of the art. Norris's approach, though unconventional, seemed to align with that philosophy. It was a reminder that there were many paths to mastery, and perhaps, just perhaps, the dojo could learn something from this unexpected visitor. As the session concluded, Norris gave a respectful nod to Tanaka before leaving. There were no grand speeches, no challenges issued, just the quiet acknowledgement of a fellow practitioner. In that brief encounter, Norris had said more through his actions than many could express in words. Master Hiroshi Tanaka stood at the front of his dojo, his posture impeccable, his gaze unwavering. The students before him mirrored his every movement, their forms sharp and disciplined. Tanaka's reputation was built on decades of rigorous training and an unyielding commitment to the traditional martial arts. He was a man who believed in the purity of the craft, dismissing modern interpretations as mere distractions. As the class concluded, Tanaka addressed his students with the same stern demeanor. Remember, he intoned, true strength lies in humility and respect. Arrogance has no place in this dojo. His words were met with nods of agreement, the students acknowledging the weight of his teachings. Outside the dojo, the world buzzed with excitement over a recent viral video. It featured an American martial artist and actor, Chuck Norris, effortlessly dispatching opponents in a series of choreographed sequences. The video captivated audiences worldwide, showcasing Norris's skill and charisma. However, to Tanaka, it was nothing more than cinematic spectacle. One evening, as Tanaka sipped his tea in the dojo's quiet courtyard, a young student approached him. "Master," the student began hesitantly, "have you seen the video of Chuck Norris? They say he's unbeatable." Tanaka's lips curled into a slight smile, though his eyes remained cold. Unbeatable, he mused. Perhaps in the world of film. But in the dojo, true strength is earned, not scripted. The student nodded, though a flicker of doubt crossed his face. Tanaka, sensing the shift, added, "Remember, the loudest voice often hides the weakest argument." Little did Tanaka know, this offhand remark would soon echo back to him in a way he never anticipated. Chuck Norris had been quietly observing the dojo's practices for several days, his presence unassuming yet constant. He refrained from drawing attention to himself, choosing instead to watch the students' movements with a discerning eye. His calm demeanor and focused gaze spoke volumes, capturing the attention of those who noticed him. Master Hiroshi Tanaka, ever vigilant, had been aware of Norris's observations. He had heard of the man's reputation, of course, but seeing it firsthand was different. Norris's quiet strength and discipline were evident, yet Tanaka remained skeptical. To him, the dojo was a place where tradition and respect were paramount, and he questioned whether Norris's presence was a genuine pursuit of martial arts or merely a distraction. One evening, as the class concluded, Tanaka addressed his students with his usual sternness. "Remember," he intoned, "true strength lies in humility and respect. Arrogance has no place in this dojo." His words were met with nods of agreement, the students acknowledging the weight of his teachings. After the class, Norris approached Tanaka. "Master Tanaka," he began, his voice steady, "I've been watching your students, and I see potential. Perhaps we could exchange knowledge." Tanaka regarded him silently for a moment before responding. "Exchange knowledge?" Tanaka repeated, his tone skeptical. "You come here, observe, and now you wish to exchange knowledge?" He paused, studying Norris's calm demeanor. "Very well," he said finally. "But understand this. In this dojo, we do not seek fame or recognition. We seek mastery and respect." Norris nodded, acknowledging the master's words. "Understand," he replied. "I'm here to learn, not to disrupt." Tanaka studied him for a moment longer, assessing the sincerity in his eyes. Perhaps, he thought, this encounter could bridge the gap between tradition and modernity. But only time would reveal whether Norris's presence would enrich the dojo's legacy or challenge its very foundation. Master Hiroshi Tanaka stood at the front of his dojo, his posture impeccable, his gaze unwavering. The students before him mirrored his every movement, their forms sharp and disciplined. Tanaka's reputation was built on decades of rigorous training and an unyielding commitment to the traditional martial arts. He was a man who believed in the purity of the craft, dismissing modern interpretations as mere distractions. As the class concluded, Tanaka addressed his students with the same stern demeanor. "Remember," he intoned, "true strength lies in humility and respect. Arrogance has no place in this dojo." His words were met with nods of agreement, the students acknowledging the weight of his teachings. Outside the dojo, the world buzzed with excitement over a recent viral video. It featured an American martial artist and actor, Chuck Norris, effortlessly dispatching opponents in a series of choreographed sequences. The video captivated audiences worldwide, showcasing Norris's skill and charisma. However, to Tanaka, it was nothing more than cinematic spectacle. One evening, as Tanaka sipped his tea in the dojo's quiet courtyard, a young student approached him. "Master," the student began hesitantly, "have you seen the video of Chuck Norris? They say he's unbeatable." Tanaka's lips curled into a slight smile, though his eyes remained cold. Unbeatable, he mused. Perhaps in the world of film. But in the dojo, true strength is earned, not scripted. The student nodded, though a flicker of doubt crossed his face. Tanaka, sensing the shift, added, "Remember, the loudest voice often hides the weakest argument." Little did Tanaka know, this offhand remark would soon echo back to him in a way he never anticipated. As the day of the anticipated challenge approached, both Chuck Norris and Master Hiroshi Tanaka immersed themselves in their respective preparations. Chuck Norris, renowned for his disciplined training regimen, focused on refining his techniques and mental fortitude. His routine encompassed rigorous physical conditioning, including strength training, cardiovascular exercises, and flexibility drills. Equally important was his mental preparation. Norris engaged in meditation and visualization practices to enhance focus and clarity. Drawing from his extensive martial arts background, which includes black belts in multiple disciplines, he meticulously reviewed various combat scenarios to anticipate his opponent's moves. Master Tanaka, a staunch traditionalist, adhered to the principles that had defined his dojo for decades. His preparation involved intensive kata practice, emphasizing precision and fluidity. He also conducted sparring sessions with his senior students, focusing on timing and adaptability. Beyond physical training, Tanaka dedicated time to philosophical study, reflecting on the deeper meanings of martial arts and the importance of humility and respect. He believed that true mastery extended beyond physical prowess, encompassing character and spirit. Both men, though approaching the challenge from different philosophies, shared a common goal: to honor the art of martial combat. Their preparations, though distinct, underscored their commitment to excellence and the respect they held for their craft. As the day drew nearer, the dojo buzzed with anticipation, aware that this encounter would transcend mere competition. It would be a meeting of two worlds, each with its own interpretation of mastery. The dojo was abuzz with whispers and sideways glances. Master Hiroshi Tanaka had issued a challenge to Chuck Norris, a name that carried weight in both Hollywood and martial arts circles. The students, many of whom had trained under Tanaka for years, were torn between loyalty to their sensei and the allure of the legendary figure from the West. In the days leading up to the event, the dojo's atmosphere shifted. The usual rhythm of kata and sparring was replaced with an undercurrent of tension. Students exchanged hushed conversations, speculating on the outcome. Some expressed confidence in Tanaka's traditional techniques, while others were curious about Norris's reputation. Tanaka, ever the embodiment of discipline, maintained his composure. He continued his teachings with unwavering focus, though his eyes occasionally betrayed a flicker of anticipation. He had faced challenges before, but this one felt different. It wasn't just about defending his honor. It was about proving the superiority of his philosophy. The students, too, prepared in their own ways. Some intensified their training, eager to support their master. Others took a more reflective approach, contemplating the significance of the upcoming encounter. The dojo, a place of tradition and respect, was now a crucible where ideals would clash. As the day approached, the dojo's reaction was a blend of reverence and curiosity. The challenge had become more than a mere contest. It was a moment that would define the path forward for all who trained within its walls. Master Hiroshi Tanaka stood in front of his dojo, his posture impeccable, his gaze unwavering. The students before him mirrored his every movement, their forms sharp and disciplined. Tanaka's reputation was built on decades of rigorous training and an unyielding commitment to the traditional martial arts. He was a man who believed in the purity of the craft, dismissing modern interpretations as mere distractions. As the class concluded, Tanaka addressed his students with the same stern demeanor. "Remember," he intoned, True strength lies in humility and respect. Arrogance has no place in this dojo. His words were met with nods of agreement, the students acknowledging the weight of his teachings. Outside the dojo, the world buzzed with excitement over a recent viral video. It featured an American martial artist and actor, Chuck Norris, effortlessly dispatching opponents in a series of choreographed sequences. The video captivated audiences worldwide, showcasing Norris's skill and charisma. However, to Tanaka, it was nothing more than cinematic spectacle. One evening, as Tanaka sipped his tea in the dojo's quiet courtyard, a young student approached him. "Master," the student began hesitantly, "have you seen the video of Chuck Norris? They say he's unbeatable." Tanaka's lips curled into a slight smile, though his eyes remained cold. Unbeatable, he mused, perhaps in a world of film. But in the dojo, true strength is earned, not scripted. The student nodded, though a flicker of doubt crossed his face. Tanaka, sensing the shift, added, "Remember, the loudest voice often hides the weakest argument." Little did Tanaka know, this offhand remark would soon echo back to him in a way he never anticipated. The dojo fell into an expectant hush as Master Hiroshi Tanaka and Chuck Norris faced each other across the mat. Tanaka, embodying decades of disciplined practice, stood poised in his traditional gi, his expression a mask of serene confidence. Norris, renowned for his mastery across multiple martial arts disciplines, exuded a calm readiness, his stance grounded and alert. The air was thick with anticipation as the two martial artists prepared to engage. Tanaka's movements were deliberate, each step a testament to his deep-rooted training in Shotokan karate and other traditional arts. Norris, drawing from his extensive experience in Tang Soo Do, Taekwondo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mirrored his opponent's focus, his body language conveying both respect and readiness. Wikipedia +2 American Karate Academy +2 The Fight Center +2. With a subtle nod from Tanaka, the sparring session commenced. Tanaka initiated with a series of swift, precise strikes, testing Norris's defenses. Norris responded with fluid countermovements, his reactions a blend of practice technique and adaptive strategy. The clash of their styles created a dynamic interplay, each move reflecting years of dedication to their respective crafts. As the session progressed, it became evident that both masters were not only testing each other's physical prowess, but also engaging in a silent dialogue of respect and understanding. The dojo, a place where tradition met innovation, witnessed a rare convergence of martial arts philosophies. Outside the dojo, the students and spectators observed in awe, recognizing the significance of the encounter. This was more than a sparring match. It was a celebration of martial arts in its purest form. The respect between Tanaka and Norris transcended words, their movements speaking volumes about the shared values of discipline, honor, and the pursuit of mastery. As the session drew to a close, both masters bowed to each other, acknowledging the mutual respect forged through their shared experience. The dojo, having witnessed this historic meeting, stood as a testament to the enduring spirit of martial arts. Master Hiroshi Tanaka's demeanor shifted subtly as the sparring session progressed. Initially, he had approached Chuck Norris with the calm assurance of a seasoned martial artist, confident in the superiority of his traditional Shotokan techniques. However, as Norris's adaptability and precision became evident, Tanaka's expressions tightened, his movements more deliberate, and his strikes increasingly forceful. The dojo, once a sanctuary of disciplined practice, now echoed with the intensity of their exchange. Tanaka's attacks, though still rooted in tradition, began to carry an edge of aggression, each movement a testament to his determination to assert dominance. Yet, despite his heightened intensity, Norris remained composed, his counters measured and effective, showcasing the depth of his martial arts mastery. Observers within the dojo noted the contrast, Tanaka's escalating aggression juxtaposed with Norris's unwavering calm. It was a silent testament to the philosophies each man embodied, Tanaka's belief in the supremacy of traditional methods and Norris's emphasis on adaptability and control. As the session neared its conclusion, Tanaka, though still outwardly confident, bore the marks of the encounter. His breathing was heavier, his movements slightly more labored. Norris, on the other hand, maintained his poise, his focus unbroken. In that moment, it became clear to all present. True mastery was not solely about the force of one's strikes, but the grace under pressure, the ability to adapt, and the strength to remain composed in the face of challenge. Chuck Norris stood poised, his stance unwavering, as Master Hiroshi Tanaka advanced with deliberate intent. Tanaka's strikes were swift and sharp, each movement a testament to his years of disciplined training. Yet, Norris's defenses were a masterclass in anticipation and adaptability. He absorbed the force of each blow, redirecting Tanaka's energy with subtle shifts and calculated blocks. As Tanaka launched a series of rapid jabs, Norris's eyes remained focused, his body language calm. With a fluid motion, he sidestepped a particularly aggressive strike, allowing Tanaka's momentum to carry him forward. In that instant, Norris executed a precise counter, his fist connecting with Tanaka's midsection. The impact was enough to momentarily stagger the master, a rare sight that did not go unnoticed by the onlookers. The dojo, once filled with the sounds of intense sparring, now held its breath. Tanaka, regaining his composure, acknowledged the effectiveness of Norris's defense with a nod. It was a silent admission of respect, a recognition that his opponent's skill was formidable. Norris's defensive techniques were not merely reactive. They were proactive, designed to control the flow of the encounter. Each movement was executed with purpose, turning potential threats into opportunities for counterattack. His understanding of leverage and timing allowed him to neutralize Tanaka's advances without unnecessary force. As the sparring session continued, it became evident that Norris's defense was not just a series of physical maneuvers, but a reflection of his deep understanding of martial principles. He demonstrated that true mastery lies not in overpowering one's opponent, but in the ability to remain composed, to read the situation, and to respond with precision. In doing so, he not only defended against Tanaka's attacks, but also showcased the essence of martial artistry. The sparring session had unfolded as a test of endurance and skill, with Master Hiroshi Tanaka's traditional techniques meeting Chuck Norris's adaptive strategies. Tanaka's aggressive approach had intensified, yet Norris's composed defense remained unshaken. However, as the match progressed, a subtle shift occurred. Norris, sensing an opportunity, began to engage more actively, his counters becoming more assertive. He executed a series of precise strikes, each movement calculated to disrupt Tanaka's rhythm. The dojo, previously filled with the sounds of Tanaka's controlled aggression, now resonated with the sharpness of Norris's counters. Tanaka, taken aback by the sudden change in tempo, found himself on the defensive. His movements, once fluid and commanding, became more reactive. Norris's presence seemed to dominate the space, his every move a testament to his mastery and adaptability. The students and onlookers, who had initially observed with anticipation, now watched in awe. The balance of the match had shifted, and it was clear that Norris's approach was beginning to unravel Tanaka's traditional methods. In that pivotal moment, the dojo witnessed a transformation. What had started as a demonstration of Tanaka's superiority evolved into a display of Norris's strategic brilliance. The turning point was not marked by a single strike, but by the gradual shift in momentum, a testament to the power of adaptability and the essence of martial arts mastery. As the sparring session intensified, Master Hiroshi Tanaka's initial confidence began to waver. The precision and adaptability of Chuck Norris's movements disrupted Tanaka's rhythm, forcing him to reassess his approach. Each strike that Norris deflected or countered with ease highlighted the limitations of Tanaka's traditional techniques when faced with such a versatile opponent. In a pivotal moment, Tanaka attempted a high-spinning kick, a signature move in Shotokan karate. However, Norris anticipated the maneuver, sidestepping gracefully and delivering a swift counter to Tanaka's midsection. The impact left Tanaka momentarily winded, a rare occurrence that did not go unnoticed by the onlookers. This exchange marked a turning point. Tanaka, known for his unwavering belief in the supremacy of traditional martial arts, now faced the reality that adaptability and innovation held significant value in combat. The dojo, once a sanctuary of traditional techniques, became a crucible for growth and self-reflection. Freepick +3 LinkedIn +3 Aikido Journal +3. As the session continued, Tanaka's movements became more measured, his strikes less aggressive. He observed Norris's fluidity and began to incorporate elements of his opponent's style into his own. This willingness to adapt demonstrated a profound realization. Mastery is not solely about adhering to tradition, but also about evolving and learning from others. The sparring session concluded without a definitive victor, but both masters emerged with a deeper understanding of their craft. Tanaka's respect for Norris grew, not just for his skill, but for his ability to challenge and expand the boundaries of martial arts. In that moment, Tanaka embraced the essence of true mastery: humility, adaptability, and a continuous pursuit of knowledge. The dojo, once a sanctuary of traditional discipline, now hummed with a palpable tension. Master Hiroshi Tanaka, having absorbed the lessons from his encounter with Chuck Norris, began to subtly shift his approach. His movements, once rigid and steeped in tradition, started to incorporate fluidity and adaptability. He observed his students more closely, noting their individual strengths and areas for improvement. The students, in turn, sensed the change. The atmosphere in the dojo became more open, encouraging experimentation and personal expression within the confines of martial discipline. Tanaka's willingness to evolve inspired his students to do the same, fostering an environment where growth was not only accepted but expected. This shift in power was not about dominance, but about empowerment. Tanaka's transformation from a strict traditionalist to a more flexible and inclusive instructor mirrored the evolution of the dojo itself. It became a place where tradition and innovation coexisted, each enhancing the other. Instagram +4 Evolve MMA +4 Evolve MMA +4. The ripple effects of this change extended beyond the dojo. Other martial arts schools in the area began to notice the success of Tanaka's new approach. Some were skeptical, while others were intrigued. Over time, many adopted similar practices, leading to a broader transformation in the local martial arts community. Master Tanaka's journey was a testament to the power of adaptability and the importance of continuous learning. By embracing change and encouraging it in others, he not only revitalized his dojo, but also contributed to the evolution of martial arts in his community. The shift in power was not about asserting control, but about fostering an environment where everyone had the opportunity to grow and excel. The dojo stood in stunned silence, the echoes of the sparring match still reverberating in the air. Master Hiroshi Tanaka, once a paragon of traditional martial arts, now faced the undeniable reality of his own limitations. His movements, once fluid and commanding, had been countered with precision and adaptability by Chuck Norris, a testament to the evolving nature of martial prowess. As Tanaka stood amidst his students, the weight of the encounter settled upon him. He had prided himself on upholding the sanctity of traditional techniques, believing them to be the pinnacle of martial discipline. Yet, in the face of Norris's modern approach, he recognized that mastery was not solely about preserving tradition, but about embracing growth and adaptation. The students, observing their master's introspection, sensed a shift in the dojo's atmosphere. The rigid adherence to tradition began to give way to a more inclusive approach, one that valued innovation alongside discipline. Tanaka's willingness to acknowledge his own vulnerabilities and learn from the experience set a powerful example for his students. In the days that followed, the dojo's training sessions transformed. While traditional techniques remained foundational, there was now an emphasis on adaptability, fluidity, and the integration of diverse martial arts principles. Tanaka encouraged his students to explore various styles, fostering an environment where learning was dynamic and multifaceted. This evolution was not just about altering training methods, but about cultivating a mindset that valued continuous growth. Tanaka's journey from a traditionalist to a proponent of adaptive learning mirrored the broader evolution of martial arts itself, a journey that embraced both heritage and innovation. The final move, then, was not a physical technique executed in the dojo, but a profound shift in perspective. It was the realization that true mastery lies not in rigid adherence to tradition, but in the ability to evolve, learn, and adapt. In embracing this philosophy, Tanaka not only transformed his own practice, but also inspired a new generation of martial artists to approach their craft with openness and humility. In the weeks following the transformative sparring session with Chuck Norris, Master Hiroshi Tanaka found himself in quiet reflection. The dojo, once a place of rigid tradition, now felt different, more open, more alive with possibility. Tanaka had always believed in the supremacy of traditional martial arts, but the encounter had shown him that true mastery required more than adherence to old ways. One evening, as the dojo emptied and the last students bowed out, Tanaka remained seated on the tatami mat, his gaze fixed on the empty space where the sparring had taken place. He thought of Norris's calm demeanor, his adaptability, and the respect he had shown throughout. In that moment, Tanaka understood that humility was not a sign of weakness, but a strength that allowed one to learn, to grow, and to evolve. The next day, Tanaka addressed his students. He spoke not of victories or defeats, but of lessons learned and the importance of remaining open to new ideas. He acknowledged that while tradition held value, it should not be a barrier to progress. He encouraged his students to embrace humility, to recognize that every encounter, every challenge, was an opportunity to learn and improve. As the weeks turned into months, the dojo flourished. Students practiced with renewed vigor, not just in technique, but in spirit. They learned to respect not only their masters, but also their peers and themselves. Tanaka's example of humility became the cornerstone of their training. Master Tanaka's journey was a testament to the power of humility in martial arts. It was a reminder that true strength lies not in dominance or pride, but in the willingness to learn, to adapt, and to grow. In embracing humility, Tanaka had not only transformed himself, but had also inspired a new generation of martial artists to do the same. In the aftermath of his unexpected sparring match with Master Tanaka, Chuck Norris found himself reflecting on the experience, not with pride, but with a sense of purpose. While the dojo had witnessed a shift in its teachings, Norris recognized that true mastery extended beyond physical prowess. Sitting quietly in his study, Norris pondered the essence of martial arts. He recalled his own journey, from a young Air Force air policeman in South Korea to a martial arts champion and instructor. It was never just about the accolades or the black belts. It was about the discipline, the respect, and the continuous pursuit of self-improvement. He remembered the words he'd often shared with his students. Martial arts is not just about self-defense. It's about self-control and self-improvement. These words resonated deeply with him now. The encounter with Tanaka had been a reminder that even masters have room to grow. It wasn't about defeating an opponent. It was about understanding oneself and embracing the journey of learning. Norris also reflected on the importance of humility in martial arts. He had witnessed Tanaka's transformation, from a rigid traditionalist to a more open-minded instructor. This change wasn't just about adopting new techniques. It was about embracing a mindset that valued growth over ego. Determined to continue his own path of growth, Norris decided to share his experiences and insights more openly. He began writing articles, giving talks, and engaging with martial artists around the world. His message was clear. True mastery is a lifelong journey, one that requires humility, discipline, and a willingness to learn from every experience. Through his reflections and actions, Chuck Norris reinforced the timeless truth that martial arts is not just a series of techniques. It's a way of life that demands respect, dedication, and continuous self-improvement. In the months following the transformative sparring match, Master Hiroshi Tanaka's dojo underwent a profound transformation. Once a bastion of rigid tradition, it now embraced a more open-minded approach to martial arts. Tanaka encouraged his students to explore various styles, fostering an environment where learning was dynamic and multifaceted. The dojo's physical space mirrored this evolution. New training equipment was introduced, blending traditional tools with modern innovations. The walls, once adorned solely with calligraphy and ancestral portraits, now featured diagrams illustrating techniques from various martial arts disciplines. The training mats were expanded to accommodate diverse forms of practice, from traditional kata to contemporary sparring sessions. Dreams time. The students, too, reflected this change. They approached their training with renewed vigor, not just in technique, but in spirit. The dojo became a place where questions were encouraged, where experimentation was welcomed, and where growth was a collective journey. The once rigid hierarchy softened, replaced by community united in the pursuit of mastery. Tanaka's own practice evolved as well. He integrated elements from other martial arts into his training, blending them with traditional techniques to create a more holistic approach. He began to view martial arts not as a set of fixed techniques, but as a living art, constantly evolving and adapting. This transformation extended beyond the dojo's walls. Tanaka began to engage with the broader martial arts community, attending seminars, collaborating with instructors from different disciplines, and sharing his experiences. His journey became a testament to the power of humility and the importance of continuous learning. The dojo, once a symbol of tradition, had become a beacon of growth and adaptability. It stood as a reminder that true mastery lies not in rigid adherence to tradition, but in the ability to evolve, learn, and adapt. In embracing this philosophy, Tanaka had not only transformed his own practice, but had also inspired a new generation of martial artists to do the same. After the intense sparring session that had reshaped the dojo's philosophy, Chuck Norris knew it was time to depart. His presence had ignited a transformation, but now, he believed it was up to Master Tanaka and his students to continue the journey. On his final day at the dojo, Norris arrived early, observing the students as they practiced. Their movements were more fluid, their focus sharper, a testament to the changes that had taken place. Master Tanaka approached him, bowing deeply. "Sensei Norris," Tanaka began, "your visit has changed us. We are forever grateful." Norris nodded, his expression serene. "The change was always within you," he replied. "I merely helped you see it." As the day progressed, Norris spent time with each student, offering words of encouragement and sharing insights from his own experiences. He emphasized the importance of humility, discipline, and continuous learning. His teachings were not just about martial techniques, but about life itself. In the afternoon, a small ceremony was held. Master Tanaka presented Norris with a handcrafted wooden plaque, engraved with the dojo's new motto, "Strength through Humility." It was a symbol of the profound impact Norris had made. As the sun began to set, Norris prepared to leave. He stood at the dojo's entrance, looking back at the students who had gathered to see him off. With a final nod, he stepped outside, his footsteps echoing in the now quiet dojo. Chuck Norris's departure marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another for the dojo. While he had left, his influence remained, woven into the very fabric of the dojo's new philosophy. Master Tanaka and his students knew that the true test lay in living the lessons they had learned, carrying forward the legacy of humility and growth that Norris had instilled in them. In the years following Chuck Norris's visit to Master Hiroshi Tanaka's dojo, the ripples of their encounter continued to influence the martial arts community. Norris's approach to blending traditional techniques with modern adaptability left an indelible mark on practitioners worldwide. His philosophy emphasized that true mastery transcends rigid adherence to tradition. It embraces growth, humility, and the willingness to learn from every experience. Master Tanaka, inspired by Norris's example, integrated these principles into his teachings. The dojo evolved into a place where students were encouraged to explore various martial arts disciplines, fostering an environment of continuous learning and mutual respect. Tanaka's journey from a strict traditionalist to a more open-minded instructor mirrored the broader transformation within the dojo. This shift not only enhanced the students' technical skills, but also deepened their understanding of the martial arts as a lifelong journey of self-improvement. Beyond the dojo, Norris's legacy continued to inspire. He founded the Chun Kook Do system, a hybrid martial art that incorporates elements from various disciplines, reflecting his belief in adaptability and comprehensive training. His contributions to martial arts were recognized globally, and his influence persisted through the generations of students and instructors who embraced his teachings. In essence, the legacy of Chuck Norris and Master Hiroshi Tanaka is a testament to the enduring power of humility, adaptability, and a continuous pursuit of knowledge in martial arts. Their story serves as a reminder that true mastery is not about dominance or perfection, but about the willingness to evolve, learn, and inspire others along the way.